This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner, licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. Moments of Clarity's mission is to educate and end the stigma on mental health through the inspirational stories of our exceptional guests. You can join in the show by calling Tiffany toll-free at 866-826-1340 or on Facebook and Twitter at MOC with Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, and welcome to Moments of Clarity. My name is Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we're going to be discussing post-traumatic stress disorder and the effects that it has on not only the survivors of a trauma, but how it affects our mood, our attitude, and how we handle everyday life after a trauma, especially if it's not healed, if it's brushed under the rug, or if it's kind of ignored and not understood. There's so many symptoms that go along with it: flashbacks, irritability, anger, rage, and so forth. And if we don't understand what's going on with our minds and our bodies and understand why, then it could be very scary. It can be very confusing, and it could cause us to react in different ways that might cause us to not recognize ourselves at times. And today, my guest is a podcast genius. I want to say I'm a big fan. He has PTSD Bunker in the Brain, and I want to Bunker Gear for your brain. I always say that wrong, but PTSD Bunker Gear for your brain. He does it religiously on Facebook Live, and he educates, and it's a very, very good show. And I want to welcome to Moments of Clarity, Carl Waggett.
Oh, Tiffany, thanks so much for having me on the show again. You know, I always have a blast when I'm able to get on here. So thank you for that.
Oh, I appreciate your time. And okay, so tell us a little bit, for the listeners that don't know you, a little bit about your background of what prompted you to do this podcast and to reach out to educate so much about post-traumatic stress disorder.
Well, you know, it's kind of a story that's not really the norm, I'll be entirely honest with you. I mean, it's not like I grew up thinking, oh, I'd love to learn about mental health and go to school for psychology. Like,
you're a firefighter. I think I forgot to say that.
Yeah, that's right. Like, you know what, I actually quite enjoy breaking stuff. That's what I do for a living. It's fun. And, you know, it's coupled up with helping people, which I think is even better. So, you know, I think the thing that I love about the fire service so much is that, you know, anybody who's worked in the private sector knows the pressure of, you know, building something or selling something. And we don't do any of that in the emergency services. We simply train and wait for somebody that needs help and go and help them. So anyways, you know, my life went along and no big deal. You know, I heard a little bit about this mental health stuff and, well, you know, whatever, right? You know, as far as I was concerned, that was something that didn't concern me at all. So the thing that's
how I grew up too, at first, ironically.
Well, and what I found so miraculous about it was, look, my job never subsided. Like, I mean, my job was always fun. I always enjoyed it. I always had a great time. But what I started to notice was my personal life was falling apart. And I couldn't put my finger on it. So the thing is that even though, you know, you know, you turn on the TV, the radio, you hear all about this PTSD thing or whatever it is, or this depression or this anxiety, you know, I understood there was all that help out there, but the thing is that I wasn't suffering from that. I just had a really crappy life, right? So the thing is I didn't draw the line between the two. So anyways, unfortunately, what happened was an individual on my fire department, well, he took his own life. And to be honest with you, the interesting thing about that is, you know, we all kind of talk within the fire service and whatnot, and you start to realize patterns. And the thing is, I started to realize that I had the same patterns. You know, and when you kind of see that, well, just the you know, the fact of not being able to sleep, you know, the irritability, you know, just being upset at times, and you know, in the fire service, in the emergency services, we kind of laugh at it. Right? I don't know how many times we sat around the coffee table hearing about somebody losing it on a neighbor, right? Because that's just kind of what happens, you know, and you kind of laugh about it and say, oh, don't worry about it. Did you hear what Bob did 4.5 years ago? Oh, my God, he came apart, right?
He's absolutely nuts. He drank too much.
In the emergency services, it's kind of strange because anything that kind of frightens us, anything that kind of gets our attention, well, we make fun of it, right? We laugh at it, right? You know,
unfortunately, some people do, yes.
Well, yeah, and you know, and I've always said this: if you have no other way how to deal with something, well, you deal with it the best way you can. You know, you don't stop living. You find a way to deal with it. And
some people get used to that, and they just think that that's the way it is.
Absolutely. You know, if you do something for long enough, your brain is going to tell you it's normal.
Mm-hmm. You adapt and you get sick, or you get used to whatever is around you, and you think that's just contentment.
I think the strangest word in the English language is normal.
I don't know what normal means anymore.
Exactly, right. Like if somebody says, I have a normal childhood. Well, okay, well, explain it to me.
Yeah.
We'll see, right?
Tell me what that looked like.
Exactly, right.
I'll find something wrong with it.
Oh, my God. We'll tear it apart. Yeah, exactly.
Then you were too sheltered. I don't know. It's always something.
It's incredible, yeah. So, you know, within the emergency services, I've always kind of said that this PTSD, it hides within the bravado of the individual. It really does. So, you know, the last thing you're ever going to do is admit that, well, the things that you see bother you, and unfortunately on a conscious level, it doesn't bother you. But, well, you know, the human brain, it's really two brains. You've got the conscious and the subconscious. And, well, if the conscious is a little tiny mouse, the subconscious is a gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
or more.
You know, oh, absolutely. It runs absolutely everything. So, you know, even though us in the emergency services, we're oh, hey, I got a ding there. Look at that. Yeah, fantastic.
Get used to it.
You know, even though us in the emergency services, we deal with a lot of unpleasant situations, and we definitely do help a lot of people. At the end of the day, we're not psychologists.
Right.
You know, and, you know, if you have something that's bigger than you or more dangerous than you, the first thing we're taught in the services is, well, you get help in. You call other engines in. You get other ladders in. You know, you call the cops in to barricade the road off. So, you know, once I think people in the emergency services start recognizing what they're up against, well, that's when they're going to start pulling in resources. Mm-hmm. So I think the real challenge here is simply just, you know, pointing this mass amount of individuals that are struggling with stuff that they don't really understand, and just pointing them to people like yourself and your radio show so they can understand what's happening. Because, you know, I'm here to tell you, these men and women in the emergency services, they think really fast. Like, you have no idea. Like, I mean, okay, I understand, you know, in a boardroom we have a meeting and whatnot. There are no meetings at an extrication on the side of a country road. Like, you work, just go. Right?
And you have to depend on each other, too.
Well, you do, yeah. So you really learn communication skills, which is incredible. So if you were to take somebody in the emergency services, they're a highly, highly intelligent individual as far as processing information, right? And I know people view intelligence in different ways, but the speed at which they solve problems is staggering.
Well, there's like street smart and book smart, and some people have both, and some people have this, you know, just survival instincts, and some people have knowledge, and some people have both.
They really do.
Mm-hmm. Some people aren't born with survival instinct. You really find out your character when you're faced with a crisis, don't you?
Oh, I'll tell you, I think that's one time you do find out, right? I think that's one time you really actually see yourself is when you're in a situation like that.
Right.
So, you know, these individuals that have kind of been beaten down, you know, let's say they've been a cop for 20 years or a medic for, 25, or they've been a dispatcher their whole life, right? You know, this kind of beats you down. But once these individuals realize that they can process this information, it's amazing the speed at which they get better.
Oh, right. And they get used to it, and they realize, I think it's self-esteem and ability to know that they're capable. It diminishes fear. It's exposure therapy.
I think the scariest thing with PTSD within the emergency services is not the fact of being nervous that anybody find out that you got it. It's the fact that you don't think PTSD help is going to help you, so therefore there is no help.
Oh my gosh, you're going to make me read
And
this
I think that's the most frightening thing. So
it's so true.
I'm on fire today.
You are. For callers, if you want to join us, 866-826-1340. 866-826-1340. You can join the live show, give feedback, answer questions, have questions answered, or tell a story, or anything. If you have something to share or ask, 866-826-1340. We're on till 1 o'clock, and it's 12:22 here. So next 40 minutes is yours. We got Carl Waggett. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. He is a firefighter. He's been for, 15 years? And you've been captain for 2?
15 years.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was waiting for you.
I was just, for those that are just tuning in, letting them know. Actually, it's a little bit time for our break. And Ed, time for our first break. And we're going to be back. Just hold on one second, Carl, and stay tuned.
Sure.
We'll be right back with Moments of Clarity after this.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Tiffany Werner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Werner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity. I'm Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And we are discussing post-traumatic stress. And my special guest is a firefighter, and he's been captain for 2 years. And he hosts a very, very, I'm a big fan, he hosts a podcast 3 days a week on Facebook Live called PTSD Bunker Gear for Your Brain. And I want to welcome back to Moments of Clarity, Carl Waggett.
This is always a blast. I love coming on your show.
I said the name of your podcast right this time.
Oh, yeah. Bunker Gear for Your Brain.
Bunker Gear for Your Brain. And if you're not already following it, you should. And he does it short, fast, to the point, very engaging, and always very educational. And I'm definitely a fan. And I don't really like talk radio. Ironically, I host a show.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yes, and
but you keep my attention. I have ADHD, so it's sometimes I need music. I mean, music is my self-care. So sometimes I just listen to music, because as a therapist, talk all day. It's something that, at the end of the day, I don't really want to do. But I always tune in you if I can, if I see it. Because it's not long. It's to the point.
Well, that's it, and that's exactly how it's designed. I mean, we talk about this ADD and ADHD, and I hear sometimes with parents who are a little bit worried about their kids with this stuff. I always want to invite those parents into a fire hall, and you just watch 12 firefighters sit in a room and try to do half an hour training. They don't sit still, okay? It's interesting, because I truly believe everybody's given these little gifts for a reason, right? And I don't see them as negative things, but no, the reason why my podcasts are only 15 minutes long is because, quite frankly, I can't listen to anything for longer than 15 minutes.
A lot of people can't. Hey, Carl,
right,
we have a caller.
Oh, brilliant. Great.
We have Jason on the line. Jason, thanks for calling Moments of Clarity. How are you?
Good, Tiffany. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for calling in. How can we help?
You and I have talked a little bit before. I have Jay's story on Facebook there.
Okay. How are you? Thanks for calling in.
I'm good. I was just calling in there, just listening to what Carl was saying, and I got a bit of a story myself. I've been a police officer for the last 23 years in Toronto. Most recently, I was a homicide detective, and before that, I was working in organized crime enforcement, dealing with the importation of drugs from other places around the world. In May of 2017, I booked off sick with I didn't know that I had post-traumatic stress disorder, but I booked off sick. I was throwing up for the previous 3 years. Threw up about 870 out of 900 mornings.
Wow. How could you not? Homicide and organized crime. It's hard to stomach, I bet.
But it was horrendous. I was under the care of so-called doctors and pharmacies and stuff like that. And 17, it didn't help. I ended up finding my saving at a place called Be in Health, which is down in Thomason, Georgia. And they had a success rate down there of healing anxiety of 91%.